Well, during this time, I think God is teaching us to be really flexible. I thought I was going to be up on the roof finishing the ridge cap, but we just got word that we can do our concrete floor in the garage this Friday, so we're kind of scrambling a little bit this morning to get everything ready. I got to go to town, pick up more rebar, got to pick up a plate compactor, got to pick up fuel. While I'm there, might as well get some water. We'll see you in a bit. Well, the trusses are up and the roof is on, and now it's time to move into the garage floor. So the garage floor is about 1,400 feet of concrete. We are going to level, compact, and build the forms ourselves, but because of the scope and our inexperience and our desire for a good product, we're actually hiring out a crew to do the finish work. Now, we don't hire out things very often, but when we do, it's because we know that we can't do it ourselves. But the crew has an availability later on this week, so we've got some work to do to get ready for them when they come. So we're getting the rebar put in for the floor. And we're just gonna bend these over because this space between the inside of the stem wall and the powerhouse is just a little bit less than 20 feet. So instead of cutting it off, we'll just bend it over and make it stronger in that area. So even though we've compacted all this gravel and we've built our stem walls and foundation on native soil, I'm gonna go ahead and pin this garage slab into our stem wall just to make sure that nothing moves or separates or settles. So if anything settles, the slab should stay right there with the stem wall. To do that, we drilled our holes, we blew them out, and now we're gonna put the epoxy into the hole. Either screw in or drive in the rebar. Doesn't really want to screw in, so we'll drive it in. The forms are in, the stakes are set. Concrete comes tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
I've got my coffee and we're heading out to pour concrete real early this morning.
right, we're almost done with one truck. And the next truck is here waiting. Things are moving real fast. In our planning process, we thought we would be pouring this concrete slab. But in the end, we are so happy that we hired it out. Even though it was expensive and wasn't in our budget, it was totally worth it. All right, now that we have the concrete down, it's still green, but it's safe to walk on. We're gonna go ahead and seal the concrete with a cure and seal finish. All sealed up and shiny. We'll see how shiny it is in the morning. Wonder how I'm gonna turn the lights off. So it's now been 2 days since the concrete was poured. We've sealed it, it's had time to cure. Now it's time to saw cut it, so we'll basically score it where it can crack if it needs to crack, so it doesn't crack where we don't want it to crack. They say you want to do a relief cut or a saw cut about every 12 to 15 feet. But because we have the powerhouse that's a 10 by 10, and this corner here at the ground is gonna be one of the weakest points where a crack would start, we're gonna go ahead and do 10 by 10 grids across the entire floor to keep it all uniform.
So first step of cutting the concrete is changing your saw blade.
Yes. The wood blade doesn't cut concrete too well. So we thought about renting a concrete saw. For a fraction of the price, we could just buy a concrete blade for the skill saw and hopefully cut a straight line.
I'm sure you will do it.
Now we're going to adjust our blade to only cut 3/4 of an inch into the concrete. So I just happen to have 3/4 of an inch OSB here. I can use this as a guide. The shallow cut will be nice because it's not very deep, but it's harder to hold a straight line when you're cutting so shallow. So we'll see how we do.